my channel. Just wanted to share with you my beautiful plant. I just wanted to share with you my little indoor plant before I put her back in her spot. This was a gift from my sister-in-law's stepmother-in-law. She's a beautiful, beautiful person, and she always goes out of her way to give us things that are different. So she gave me this waxed amaryllis, and she gave it to me at Thanksgiving, and I really wasn't sure what to do with it because it is cold and dark here. So she said, don't do anything to it. That's what the instructions on the back says. Don't do anything. No water needed. Simply take them out of the box and place them on a tabletop or any other flat surface in your home. Keep your amaryllis in a well-lit room but avoid direct sunlight. Rotate it every couple of days to help it grow straighter. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. My father's a farmer. I didn't know what that meant. I also didn't really have a lot of place to put it where it would get direct sunlight. So I just kind of left it. The week before Christmas, when my in-laws came to visit, because she gave one to me and one to my sister-in-law, I asked my sister-in-law, what does yours look like? Because I hadn't even looked at this in a while. And she was like, whoa, yours is really tall. So then this weekend we went to church. We came home after a few hours out, and this beautiful bloom had just appeared. And I was like, whoa. And then on Sunday, you know, we go to church on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we went to my mother-in-law's and we came home and another bloom had opened. And then this morning, here's bloom number 3. And then there's another shoot here. This is just so delightful. I had to share it with you. This has made me very, very excited about a cold, snowy day. So this is what we're working with. This is kind of my TBR upcoming. So I made some goals. I made some reading goals for myself for 2025, which is weird because I didn't meet most of my reading goals in 2024, and I've made pretty much the same goals again. But I am nothing if not delusional and determined. So these are some of my broad reading goals. Last year I read, I think, close to 50 books. I think 49 or 48. I'm not positive because there's a book that doesn't appear on my list, which I'm pretty sure should be on my list. But I think I read 49 books, maybe even 50. Not counting all the books that I read with my daughter. But last year was a low, low number year. My goal that I started off 2025 with was 150. What was I thinking? Did I forget that I had a then 4-year-old, now 5, who loves to read with me? So yeah, I didn't read as much of my books as I intended last year, but there were also some months in the middle of the year where I read absolutely nothing. I was planning this big trip in August. If you were here back then, you may remember I almost disappeared in July and August because I was just focusing on this 10-state camping trip. We camped in Wyoming. We traveled from New York to Wyoming and back by bus. We spent 4.5 days on the road and another 5 days in the campsite. And I was responsible for planning the trip and making sure the execution went well. We had children and adults, a lot of first-time campers. And there were a lot of regulations because we weren't doing this just for ourselves. We were doing it in accordance with our Pathfinder organization. So there were lots of things that we had to do, a lot of administrative things. And so yeah, my reading in the middle of the year plummeted. I don't have that this year. I think we may be planning a big road trip in the summer, but I feel like this will definitely be a lot lower scale. So I don't think it will affect my reading that much. So I am back to planning to read 100 plus books. My goal this year, I'm setting it at a modest 120. So intending to double plus my reading from last year. I also want to read books from my shelf. So I've put a number of 25 from my shelf, but I'm making that a low estimate just because a lot of the books, what is going on outside? Just because a lot of the books that I have to read for projects tend to come from the library. Like I read for the Book 2 prize, which is another one of my goals. I read for the Book 2 prize, and so I need to source new books. I don't intend to buy all the books that I want to read. I can't afford to buy all the books that I want to read. So some of the books that I need to read are from my own shelves, and I'm putting an actual number on it and saying I want to read at least 25 books that I already own. But knowing that a lot of my reading will come from the library and I like it like that. So yeah, those are my two number goals. I intend to continue judging the BookTube prize. That's one of my goals. I have this extensive list of classics and backlist books that I want to get to. And I've been working on this list very, very slowly, whittling it down for the past few years. And so I'm just going to continue that. I will share that as a graphic just because I haven't made that much progress on it. At least I didn't make that much progress on that list last year, but I intend to keep working on it. I read and promote Caribbean books. I host a readathon in June called Caribathon. If you're new to hearing about Caribathon, check the hashtag. You'll see videos from me, videos from Peter, who's my co-host, and her channel is Comfy Cozy Up. And we also have lots of other people who read and participate in the readathon and share their own lists of Caribbean books. So check out the hashtag for recommendations. Throughout the year, I also read and promote Caribbean books through my book club called RunwrightReads Book Club. So we have a list of books for the book club as well. I shared that in a separate video, and I'm going to be reading those books and sharing them throughout the year as well. So those goals are continuing. Those are some of my baseline. Those are my givens. I also intend to complete some other reading challenges. I'm trying to read books that have won the Booker Prize. That is an ongoing goal, so I want to read about 7 of those books this year. And I get books from publishers to read and promote. I want to try to read, or at least familiarize myself with the books so I can promote the books within a month or so of receiving them. That is something that I'd like to work on. And then there is other reading challenges that I participate in. There's one called Book Challenge by Erin, which is a Facebook group, and you choose 10 books in advance of the challenge starting, and you have 4 months to work on those 10 books. And I made my list, and I will share that. I'll share that here. I'll just show you the books that I am going to be reading within the next 4 months and the reason that I chose them. And a couple of those are books that meet other challenges that I'm doing. I do buddy reads. If you're interested in reading and discussing a book with me, just one-on-one or in a small group, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to reading and discussing books with people who I've never read book with, because I like hearing other people's perspective on text. So in January, I have two buddy reads that are starting, and then there's another one that may start late in January or early February. And aside from that, I have these authors that I'm trying to read all their works: Toni Morrison, Barbara Pym, and Muriel Sparks. So those are continuing goals as well. I will share my reading journal in a separate video just because I have a lot of components of the journal that I'd like to share with you. I don't want to rush through it. So those are some of the big things that I want to track this year. One of the goals that I had last year that I am not returning to is a read or unhaul list. I'd come up with a list of books that I wanted to read and make decisions about by the end of the year. And I read a few of those books, but I didn't read all of them. And I just want to give myself more time. Given that my number of books that I read last year was so low, I feel like I didn't give myself enough time to really go through that list. But I also don't want to pressure myself. I don't want to say I have to read these books by a certain time and then feel like I don't have enough time to devote to them and make snap decisions. I want to give myself time to read my books. So I'm going to be making a separate video about just books that I already own and need to make decisions on. So give me a little time to work on that. My bookshelves are a mess. They are a mess. There are books everywhere, and the books are all jumbled, and I don't know where my books are, and I don't know how to, not that I don't know how to, but they're not categorized. Like, I don't have fiction in one place and nonfiction in another place, or Caribbean books in one place, or my current TBR in one place. I just don't have that right now. So in the next short time, I don't want to say a few days or a few weeks, soon you will see some videos from me where I'll try to start organizing my books that I can share my bookshelves with you and feel like we're on the same page about what's happening. Right now it's in chaos. But couple of lists, a couple of stacks that I have. These are some of the books that I'm working on right now, except for this. So we're calling this part of my January TBR because these are actual books that I have identified that I want to read this month, and here's why. So this is a book that I started off the year with, read this in its entirety on January 1st. This is a tradition that was started by Sarah from Hardcover Hearts, and a few people, she's encouraged people to do it because it's a fantastic way to start the year. It is a great epistolary exchange between a bookseller and a book lover, and I love it. It shows also how a connection that starts with books can extend to other parts of life. So I love this. I love this. And so I read this on January 1st, and I will continue to read this on January 1st every year as long as I think about it and can do it. So this was a book from the library. Started off my reading with a library book. No surprise there. But these are some other books that I want to read in January. So this is Familiaris by David Roblowski. This is a sequel to the Edgar Sawtelle story. I read that a few years ago with Patrice Jones. Her channel is 2 Minutes on Books. And we read this and loved our buddy read. So now that the sequel is out, we wanted to buddy read it as well. So this is happening this month. I started a book club in our family. Myself, my husband, my sister-in-law, and her husband. And we're not sure who else is going to be in it yet. But we know that we're starting with Agatha Christie's first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. So we're going to be reading and discussing this later this month sometime. I'm going to be buddy reading James by Percival Everett. And I have a small group that I read and discuss those books with. Well, before we read James, we wanted to read Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So this is a text that my husband owns. This is a text that my husband owns. It is like a critical look at Huckleberry Finn. So it has the actual 1885 text, but then it also has a lot of critical writing about it. And I thought that it would be good to read the original text. I don't know if I'm going to read the criticisms. At least if I read that, it will be on my own. It's not with the group. But I thought it would be really good to just read his copy and know that I have notes about the book right here. This is my current read, so I already started it. This is the Paris novel by Ruth. Not sure how to pronounce her name. This was a gift from the publishers, and so I put it on a list of my BCBE book challenge by Erin challenge. So this is a book that I'm reading from my shelves and using it to meet another challenge, which is win-win-win for me. So these are some of the books that I'm starting off with. I'm also reading this month August Sound. That is the RunwrightReads book club selection. I own a copy. I just don't know where it is yet. So that's one of the reasons I need to clean up my bookshelves really quickly so I can start finding my books to show. But aside from that, stunning TBR. We also have these two stacks of books that were part of the Vlogmas challenge in December. So we gift wrapped these books. The books that are wrapped in newspaper came from the library. The ones that are wrapped in tissue paper came from my own personal shelves. And so even though we wanted to make this Vlogmas challenge, we read a few books from the list. We just didn't decimate the list like we had wanted to. So I'm gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna keep working on this until I can't. And the ones that are wrapped in newspaper are library copies, and at some point I'm gonna have to return them. So if I come up with, like when I check my account at the library, I have a book that's overdue and I can't renew it, and I may have to uncover books to find it, in which case this plan goes away. I could still always keep my shelf copies. I could still use that to do the challenge. But yeah, this is continuing throughout January. Just want to see how far I can get to, right? I think this is good, right? So this is how I'm having fun with my books this month. So this is the start of my bookish reading goal oriented videos in January. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a mishmash. One goal that I forgot to tell you about, and I will talk more about it when I go into my reading journal share. One of the other things that I am doing and continuing to do is Britta Bowler, whose channel is The Second Shelf. She has a list of 1001 books by women from around the world. And I wanted to read some of those books. So last year I chose 10 books that I wanted to focus on. I only read 3 last year. So I've kept my list and I'm just going to continue working from that list. So in a lot of ways, we're considering 2025 to be just a continuation of your 2024 reading, which that's just how I roll. So yeah, that's one of the other lists that I'm working on. So lots of lists in my reading journal, and I can't wait to share it with you. So that video will be coming to you very soon. So thank you so much for watching. I'd love to chat with you. Let me know, what are your reading oriented goals for this year? What are the things that you're working on? What's on your January TBR that you're very, very excited to start reading, or have you started already? So thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back soon with another video. I hope you join me for it. Until then, happy reading. Bye.